We didn't do a video today, Rich. I forgot about the turning lock, making some notes on your entry to the turning lock from the spin turn. So do your homework. I can get a little bit better sound, although I don't have that much room. All you really need to see is the change from 3 of the spin turn and how much activity takes place on that standing leg to help you to produce what you need to lead the lady and to provide yourself balance on your turning lock. So what was happening is the weight was moving back through the shoulders and square, and then this leg was crossing. So if we're going into that turning lock and we get this leg back and you get your weight back, that's where you were losing your balance and tripping yourself. And that's always a risk there. That's why we had that little fall the other week. So when you're landing your spin turn, you need to keep the weight over the standing foot, that's your left foot, and take the knee forward. And as you take the knee forward towards the big toe, the shoulder lead can be produced by the action here of my spine and my thigh and all the leg bones rotating. So although my feet are still remaining at the same alignment, I'm not going to turn the foot out. We'll open the leg. I remain parallel through my legs, but there's rotation through that standing leg to produce the shoulder lead. And you can see then that the path of my leg is not crossing behind the other foot. So you prepare, that rotation swings the leg out into the preparation for the lock, and then you'll cross over. And then we'll move the right leg into the left turn and on either into the promenade position or the parallel position. So I'll do that from another angle. 3 at the spin turn. Make sure you don't allow yourself to fall backwards. Think forward, allow the leg to swing, right shoulder leading into the cross, turning left, coming out in promenade. Let's make one more note in both the waltz and the tango today, but this would apply to any dance you're doing, particularly in your outside partner positions and promenade. We need to start feeling at the times when there's a disassociation of the trunk area to where your chest is towards the lady and your hips may be turning in another direction. So it would apply many different places where sometimes our shoulders may overturn our hips and other places where our hips may overturn our shoulders. So it's a big topic, but today we talked about that in the promenade, and it relates to what we talked about last week about your legs coming open and not being able to hold the position of the CBMP and the promenade position, which will help me to keep a nice line through my top line and through my right shoulder. So what happens when the trunk is turning equally on some of these figures? You take the entire right side through in promenade and the legs open up. So I'm not talking about opening this way. That was side step, that it'd be open this way. It's when I'm supposed to be taking a forward step in a track with a clear leg line, and I would end up opening my legs like that. But the reason it's happening is because the entire side is coming through. So we need to get more mobile through the hip area underneath the rib cage or the rib cage on top of the hips. So in your second step in promenade, so if we were doing the chasse and the waltz, or the second step of the promenade and tango, we're trying to maintain that track. You can't maintain that track without some movement in your body to accommodate that. So we'll go back and remind about the action of the leg, that the leg is not crossing in a stiff manner. It's actually dancing around the other leg. And when you flick the lower leg, it actually ends up going into the right position. It's not that I have to hold my leg here and cross or twist that way, but I have the leg spiraling around the other leg. So I'm allowing a little more rotation through my hips instead of through the upper body or the upper trunk area. This is actually trying to stay with the lady so that I can maintain the frame. But we've got to have some flexibility underneath there. The natural thing for the body to do when it twists is then to untwist and to come back. So anytime that we twist, we'll naturally right ourselves. So that happens when we're, let's say, the second step of the tango, promenade. You are in a more twisted position, and then you allow the body to untwist and go back to where the shoulders and the hips are more square. It's an almost invisible movement in waltz. You may see it more in tango because at this moment you'll see the lady's head turn very quickly. But what I'm doing is undoing that twist, letting my upper body turn very slightly left as my hip, which came through slightly, my hip is very slightly going back. And you'll end up square. So as I said, it's not that visible. It shouldn't be that obvious. The same thing on the chasse and the waltz. We're trying to maintain this connection to the lady. And then when you untwist, when you bring your shoulders and hips back in line and your frame back in line, that's when the lady will close. So trying to get a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more control. Remember, you're all the time trying to keep the center towards your lady as much as possible. So that means sometimes you'll have to turn a little bit more in the hips. And we'll have to really work on the controlling the shoulder muscles so that when you come through, you're not only rotating, but you're also engaging here and giving her a little bit more space in the arm. So it's a big subject, but today what we looked at is getting the top and bottom trunk to work separately and then together. And we'll talk about that throughout the dances, but today we're looking at the promenade position especially.